Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Nerf Herder Radio, where we come to you from war-torn weather hell here in Oklahoma. Severe thunderstorms probably gonna knock me out again tonight. Maybe tornadoes. We'll see. Um, we'll see what happens as the weather rolls in, as it does every May in Oklahoma. So, you're joining me from his confines of his basement in Nashville. There's Jason. How's it going tonight?
Hey, what's up? Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How's your week been?
Busy, chaotic, normal life.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, same here. I got a bunch of travel coming up, so looking forward to making some trips this week. Actually, the next 3 weeks, I'll be all over the country. So, I'm getting my miles in before my daughter goes to college. Then last weekend, she had her regionals and she qualified for nationals in a couple events. So we're super proud of her, all her accomplishments. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here tonight to talk about things like Star Wars and Endgame and Game of Thrones and you name it. We shelved the Endgame conversation last week for this week to give everyone a chance to see it that hasn't seen it yet. I think if you haven't seen it by now and you're on social media, you're an idiot, and I'm not going to feel sorry for you if anything gets ruined. So,
hey, the Russo said we could have spoiled everything starting yesterday. So we're good.
Well,
Hollywood said we're good.
Yeah, as long as the Russos lifted the embargo, we're solid. So, first off, what are your thoughts? What'd you think?
I thought it was long. I thought it was really, really long, but I thought it was great. I thought it was a great conclusion to 11 plus years or 11ish years of movies. I thought brought a lot of things full circle. The final battle was amazing. I thought it was interesting because, it was Avengers, Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and there was, at one point, I don't know if it was the Russo brothers or somebody said that there was a different working title for it at the time, or there's some allusion, they were like, this is going to focus a lot more on the original Avengers from the original movie, and obviously it does, because they go through time, and at all points they're interacting and interfacing with the original cast from from that first movie, but I really liked it. I'm very curious to see where they go next. Spider-Man Far From Home, whatever it's called, Far and Away. I don't know. I keep getting it all mixed up, but that's Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. But Far From Home, I'm very interested to see because that's going to be basically the starting point for what's next and what's the next phase, what's the next big villain build up, and if you haven't seen that, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning on that one before I say anything, but they introduced multiverse because of what they did with the Infinity Stones and the time travel scenario. So what do you think, though, Carter?
I liked it. It wasn't my favorite Marvel movie, but I think it's a top 3, top 5 in the Marvel saga. Why it's not number 1 is because we knew how it was going to end. To me, the biggest Marvel movie that had the biggest cliffhanger that nobody saw coming was still Winter Soldier, and I think that will always be my favorite Marvel movie because nobody anticipated the rise of Hydra. And so this one, I think we all knew. We knew they were going to get from A to B. We didn't know how. But we knew what the finality was. They're going to undo the snap, and that's what happened. It was a long movie too. I made it to the end. I didn't take any bathroom breaks. I went and saw it at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, so I didn't have my morning coffee either. So I made it through the whole movie. But overall, I thought it was a good conclusion, a good wrap up to, like you said, a 12-year journey that we've been on so far. I liked a lot of the Easter eggs and kind of the hidden stuff in the movie that I found myself laughing at times that I don't think most people laughed at for some reason. But like when Okoye and Black Widow are having the voice chat, she mentions the earthquake underwater, and obviously that's a tie into Namor, the Submariner, and will he be in Black Panther 2? I think that's what we're alluding to. Things like when you see Stan Lee driving down by Camp Lehigh, and his bumper stickers has "Nuff said" on the back of it. Anybody that ever read the old Marvel comics, he would always have his last page or last word, and it would always be "Nuff said." So I thought that was a fitting tribute to Stan Lee. Boy, there were some other ones. Howard the Duck was in the big fight.
Oh, was he? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was in one of the portals at the very end. Trying to think what else. There's a bunch of other Easter eggs and hidden stuff.
Well, I mean, you could look at Thor and just say he's the Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think Thor's transformation was my favorite character development of the whole movie.
I honestly, because I watched a couple of the Avengers cartoon movies. They're newer, but they were definitely. It just kind of was on Netflix. I was like, why not? And one of them, I like how they kind of represented Thor because he's much more Viking-y. He's a drinker and the ales and all that stuff, and much jollier and louder. And I liked seeing that kind of persona, especially once he got Stormbreaker and Mjolnir in hand, which we'll get to some cool things with that too here in a minute. But and he has the beard, and he looked more like an Asgardian to me than I think we've ever seen him. He wasn't just pretty boy Floyd. I'm here
chiseled,
for the chiseled and ooh, it was Thor, and it was what it should have been.
Well, as Rocket said, he looked like a bowl of melted ice cream.
Yes, man, and Rocket and Thor. I'm so excited because I'm hoping Thor's going to be in Guardians 3. He has to be at this point. I mean, he leaves.
Yeah.
So,
as Guardians of the Galaxy, I think that's definitely going to be their next title.
I would love if they actually called it that. That would be really funny.
That would be funny.
Just completely, this is as Guardians of the Galaxies because who's the captain of the ship?
Right.
We have the "I'm the captain now" argument going on.
Totally Star-Lord. That he's the captain.
No.
Oh yeah,
Sure he is. Yeah, absolutely. He's
captain. Yeah, sure. And then they're gonna go find Gamora, and that'll be an interesting twist. I didn't like the way they how they did Black Widow. I think that she's been a character since Iron Man 2. Been around. I think she deserved a more fitting end. And I guess Russo said, that's the one thing you can't undo is the Soul Stone, and they've pretty much confirmed that they're not bringing her back, but they are going to do a Scarlet or Black Widow movie,
like a prequel,
which I'm excited about. Tell us a little bit more about Wanda Romanoff's story. So, otherwise, she knew she had to die when they were going to go get the Soul Stone. There was no other way about it. She was going to save herself for Clint. So he could somehow reunite with his family. She had no family. You knew that was going to happen. So when they got paired up, I was like, oh man, this is not good.
Yeah. I thought the introduction of how they changed Clint Front to they didn't really call him out as Ronin. What I also thought was interesting is I don't think at any point in the entire movie series, except for maybe during Thor 1, is he referred to as Hawkeye. I don't think. He's always referred to as Barton, but he refers to his daughter as Hawkeye. And there's a theory that the Disney series movie with him is going to be about him training his daughter to become Hawkeye.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, he was always Agent Barton, or like I said in the very first Thor. Yeah, in the very first Thor, they called him Hawkeye when he was up watching the hammer.
Yeah, and that was a really cool scene too. So I really like how they got Jeremy Renner to play him, and how he evolved from the character we saw at the beginning of the movies to he sees his family get the dusting, and he goes on a revenge path of you are a horrible person. Why are you alive when they die? So you're going to suffer as well. And he just goes on a slaughterhouse spree. I also thought it was very interesting. This is a lot more, for a Marvel movie, it was a lot more graphic. I mean, we chop off Thanos' head. We have some samurai sword fightings, and there's some, it's a little more graphic than it's not that it was graphic, but for a Disney Marvel movie that you're trying to, engage a 10, 11-year-old kid chopping heads off and stuff like that in hands was kind of interesting.
Wasn't it PG-13
I don't remember.
rated?
Probably.
Because there was even some language for it in it. It said...
And it was not, it was a 2000s PG-13. It definitely wasn't 80s PG-13.
Yeah. So... No, I can agree, but I think it had to be. I think they kind of had to add some of that the grittier scene. Yeah, when the Avengers show up to Thor's garden world, that I did not expect that to happen at all. I didn't think that they would just show up and do what they did to him as fast as they did, but definitely leads to the aftermath of them and how they recover. Especially, Thor obviously took it pretty hard. So I thought that was cool. I think the true hero of the movie is the rat. Somebody had a meme of that. If it wasn't for the rat that got Scott Lang out of the quantum realm, none of this would happen. So the rat is the MVP.
And it ironically hit the right key sequences in the right format to make it all happen.
Right. So the rat's the MVP. Without the rat, none of this happens. And then a lot of the Community TV show cameos in this. Kim Jong was in it. He was the guy at the security guard there, and then the I don't know her character name, but when Steve and Tony go back to the 70s, she's the one on the elevator with them. So there's a
secretary or whatever.
Yeah, so the Russo brothers have a tie-in with Community. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I thought that was also great. There was a lot of great tie-back moments that they gave some closure to characters. It gave you some more understanding of stuff. I love too one of the better arguments, or not arguments, but explanations I saw online. And talked about Tony, how he became so much more beloved and viewed as the leader of the Avengers, while in the comics it was always Captain. And somebody related to is Tony evolved. He was more human. He was more real because, we see him in the beginning. He's billionaire playboy philanthropist, and by Avengers 3, it's post, Manhattan fight in New York and the Battle of New York and all that, and he's worried about protecting Pepper and what ifs, and he builds the Iron Man army fleet, and they go in the action, and then over that, and you see it even in Infinity War, Pepper's getting onto him. Why are you still wearing this? Well, it's just in case. What if there's a skeleton in the closet? And he's always wanting to look out, but he's always trying to improve and better himself through, regardless of what everything that happens. He always takes the problems and addresses a new resolution from it. Whereas you see like Captain, he's straight line, the same person the entire way through, and people were more beloved of Tony because of that. Now, probably that was a lot of that was Disney and Marvel writing that into there to be that way, but I thought they picked the cast perfectly from 11 years ago to today. There's nobody cast that I think has done a terrible job, except maybe Captain Marvel. But can't win them all.
Yeah, but she was. I was thinking about it today, and I think there's just enough Captain Marvel in this movie because otherwise she would have become too overpowering.
Yeah.
Because by comic book standards, she's like the most powerful person in the universe, and you saw the headbutt of Thanos didn't phase her. So I was sitting there, when that big battle happened, I was sitting there to myself, where's Captain Marvel? And then all of a sudden she shows up. I think I look at a similarity between that and Justice League, the movie, and how they brought in Superman, because kind of in that same movie, you have these guys that are so overpowering, they can just mop the floor with the bad guy. And so you had to be careful on your timing on when to bring them in.
Yep.
And I thought they did hers at a perfect time.
Yep.
The ship was raining down hellfire and killing everybody because Thanos was getting whooped and he was afraid. Never felt that way before. And then all the firing stopped and went toward her, and she just zip zap destroyed the ship, and everything went on. So I thought they did a good job of bringing her into the story at the right time.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see with where they go next, because they went back in time. Loki got the Tesseract and disappeared. So Loki's alive technically in another universe. So we have a Loki situation we got to figure out. They did.
They're gonna do. Hiddleston's he's gonna have a show on the streaming service, right?
Yeah, but are they gonna throw him in the movies ever again? I liked how 'cause in the comics, they threw Captain America and they made him Hydra, and he said
then he was
Hydra.
then he was a Skrull, and
Yeah.
yeah,
But he says Hail Hydra in the movie. But of course, that's him trying to get the staff.
scepter. Yeah.
But you know, is there an illusion then in that universe that you know when they kind of start splitting all this stuff off? Is Captain America a Hydra agent at that point? You know, the Skrulls show up at the end of the Avengers movie with Tom Holland at the high school. The head Skrull, I can't remember his name. The guy that played the lead Skrull guy,
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, he's in the background at the high school.
Is he really?
Yeah. So Skrulls are somewhere in the background now too. So are we gonna have a Kree Skrull rule? Nova supposedly is rumored to be showing up in the next as Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So there's a lot of things that are still out there. I'm very excited about. And I'm very curious about. Are they gonna with this new multiverse theory? Are we gonna start to somehow bridge in X-Men and Deadpool in some way? My bigger question, I think, more than anything else, is at the end of the movie, the big epic battle scene, as cool as it was it too much? Was it superhero overload? Do you think we'll ever get that'll be like a once in a decade type thing again? But do you think we'll get more, 2015 actors on a screen again, or do you think we hit that plateau and we may not do that again? They might kick it back a little bit.
I think it depends on what they do. If they do a Secret War story, then yes. If they're going to do these individual stories, then no.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how they bring in the X-Men. I think the easier story to do is you bring in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Because if they're going to space, it brings in the Fantastic Four more, and then you can start to bring in Fantastic Four villains that then kind of bleed over into other storylines, like Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom.
Yep.
Doctor Doom's mentor was, whatever his name is, Cagliostro, who they tore the book out of for the Time Stone. He taught Doctor Doom how to time travel. So obviously you're going to have time travel, and Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange can have a great fight. You bring in Fantastic Four for a lot of the astral, spaceborne alien activities, and they could tie in well with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I don't know if we're going to see another Avengers in some time. I think with...
Do you think we'll see a young Avengers maybe? Because you got Tom Holland, you'll have Hawkeye's daughter, maybe
the kid, the mechanic from Iron Man 3.
Yep.
You could. You could definitely see them doing something like that. But yeah, I don't think you're going to see an Avengers movie, an Avengers title, in quite a while.
Well, the Eternals is announced too at some point, so there's an Eternals movie coming.
Yeah, but that could also bring in the Fantastic Four or Nova or the Guardians or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're done on Earth. I think everything going to the streaming service. You got Bucky and Falcon are going to have a TV show. WandaVision, so obviously they're going to try to incorporate that somehow. Bring Vision back. That's going to be a TV show. Obviously, Black Widow's dead. Cap is retired, old. Iron Man's gone. I don't know. I think this is a perfect ending of the Avengers storylines that they can now move on to other avenues and make more stories.
Yeah, totally agree.
But
you could have ended the entire
Strange.
Universe after this. If they hadn't slated the other movies, you could have walked away from this and just been like, "We're done, man. We that was the pinnacle. We're done."
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
I mean,
the Russos said they're done, but
yeah, I mean, you do have Black Panther 2. You got Doctor Strange. There are also going to be some Earthbound movies, but I think the overarching story is going to be in space.
Yeah,
the connective tissue is going to be in space.
I think it's going to be space. Whatever they do next with Ant-Man and doing the multiverse travel and all that kind of stuff. I think that'll play a role into it with oh God, what is it he goes to?
Quantum Realm. Thank you.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to talk about with Avengers?
Well, Ray's on, and I'm going to bring up a conversation that Ray and I had the other day after seeing the movie. Is the configuration of the stones at the end? And how do they address that? Because Cap has this case with all the stones in it. The only ones that aren't altered in size or anything would be the Time Stone, the Soul Stone, which the Lord knows how he gave that back to Red Skull, and I wish they would have had some sort of story there. But the Tesseract the Tesseract or whatever, the Energy Stone was in a cube in 2012. So is he going to put it back in a cube? How are they going to solve that problem? The Ether or the Reality Stone is a mist injected into what's her name?
Natalie
But
Portman.
now it's Natalie Portman. But now it's a stone. How are they going to answer that question? The Mind Stone.
The
Mind Stone is in the scepter. So they've broken all that. Like I said, the only ones you can put the Power Stone back in the gray thing and put it back on Morag for Peter Quill to find. But how I guess that's a plot hole that they'll never answer. But I thought it was interesting. It was an interesting conversation Ray and I had. So
no, I think it's a good point. I'm also curious to see. You brought up with the stones. Like, I want to go back and look at it and see from when Thanos wore the gauntlet to where Tony Stark has it on his hand. Are the stones in the same configuration as far as placement, or were they different? Because I wonder if they were different, if that's what when he snapped created the kink in time in the universe, if you will, because they weren't identical, or But also, there's the whole everything Back to the Future taught us about time travel is absolute crap, according to Hulk, and that was awesome.
Scott Lang.
Yeah. So
A Wrinkle in Time, and they started naming all these movies.
Yeah.
And what else did he say? Scott Lang said something, and you're like, no, Die Hard.
Great.
No, that's not a time
Die
travel
Hard
movie.
was a travel movie. Yeah. It was so great.
Probably a nod to is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. That's and Ray and I were talking also about the Power Stone is the one thing that was, and I kept thinking that no one could touch any stones, and Ray brought up no, it's just the Power Stone is the one. And when Thanos grabs the Power Stone and freaking slammed Captain Marvel, I thought that was pretty cool. He was quick. He was quick to use the stones.
Mm-hmm.
But
He
that
had
was
the stones.
That was the one that I don't think anyone, a human could touch or did the most damage. And then
Did we lose you, buddy?
oh, sorry, I lost my batteries died. You got me?
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. I don't know where I left off. I was talking about
Well, your camera mic was picking up probably, I think.
Oh, okay. The Power Stones, and then but Hulk made the comment that it's mostly gamma radiation, so that's why he could hold the stones. But the Russos confirmed that his damage is permanent, so his arm will be messed up forever, and maybe he'll go to Wakanda and they can fix his arm or do something along those lines.
Maybe he'll get an arm like Cable.
Maybe an arm like Cable or steel arm like
Bucky.
So who knows what he'll do. But no, overall, like I said, it was good. It wasn't the best Marvel movie ever. It was up there. I thought the timing was right. I don't think it never felt long. I don't think there was any drag in the story. Could the fight scene have been longer at the end? Probably. Could it have been shorter? Probably. I think everything. I think it was perfect in the way it was filmed. Because of the ending, because we knew the finality of the whole story, I just can't put it above Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I knew that the goal was to undo the snap. Who was going to die? Who was going to live? I purposely just avoided every spoiler as much as possible, and then I was on Facebook scrolling through, and it was 2 days after Infinity War, and it's like, buy this Iron Man shirt, and it's Tony holding a hand up with the stones. It was like, oh god, no, I didn't see that. Undo. So. Brandon's telling us on Facebook, he goes, I was disappointed in Hulk and Thor stories. Hulk, I don't know what Hulk's not one to follow. I would love to have seen a Planet Hulk, or in a World War Hulk, that comic strip gone where he's more of the villain, and that could possibly happen now with
I don't think so. I think they
with the
covered
multiverse
that
or
in
something.
Ragnarok.
So I don't know. I kind of wish they would. but I'm not holding out my breath. It's kind of like Game of Thrones with Clegane Bowl. I really hope it happens, but I don't know if it will or not. But but Thor had an interesting story to me because I felt like when he goes back to his planet and he's talking to his mom and stuff, I thought that was really cool, really endearing because he left broken and of course he
I think
he got what he needed, the reassurance and affirmations, but I think that's the character evolved in because of the actor, and he's powerful, but he's also like the big teddy bear goofy guy now, and that's what he's there for.
Yeah, I think of all the character development, he had the most, and it wasn't always good. I liked what they did with his character. So I disagree with you, Brandon. Sorry. Yeah. And Ray, I saw your comment about Mysterio. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. How because of the snap, they've introduced a multiverse, so we're gonna see how that plays out in the Marvel world. So
yeah, Brandon brings a good point. Probably the best Hulk scene. Probably one of the two best ones for me is definitely when he ragdolls Loki in the ground, grabs him, I'm a god and you will, and he slams him around. And then the other one is when him and Thor are fighting on in the Devil's Anus planet, whatever that was called.
Sakaar,
yes. And he's like, don't throw that. Sorry.
Thor like fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire. Yeah.
So I enjoyed the movie overall. I thought it was great. Kids enjoyed it. It was good closure. I'm very curious where they go from here because kind of honestly, I'm like, how do you top this? It's almost like you're hitting the reset in a lot of ways, which I think we are. I think we're going to see an evolution of Spider-Man becoming not being more Iron Man-y, so I think that'll be cool. I think that'll be an interesting thing to see how that they do. Because in some of the comics, I mean, Peter Parker is super smart, just like Tony, and they kind of work hand in hand on some stuff, and so I'm very curious to see what happens.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I hope they let Spider-Man be a kid. I think the problem with the Raimi Spider-Mans and even Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans is they forced him to grow up too fast.
Yeah,
and so Spider-Man was always great when he was just this high school kid solving problems. Or, do they do the Spider-Verse? Does Miles Morales get a story? I think that might be interesting now that we have a Spider-Verse. Could they bring in Miles? Could they bring in Miles Morales into the Spider-Man movies? I think they can go a bunch of different ways. That I just hope they film a lot while he's so young, while Tom Holland's a young kid.
Yeah, I agree. I would like.
I don't want to see a Harry Potter with beard stubble trying to play a 16-year-old. So.
Well, you heard the story about when they were filming one of the Avengers movies or something with him, and they went to some bar in Europe or pub. And they wouldn't serve him because they thought he was a child still because he has the baby face. And Thor, or not Thor, but Chris Hemsworth and all of them were giving him crap about it the whole time.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, my biggest takeaway, or the thing I disliked the most about the movies, I thought they were too gratuitous with Cap and Mjolnir.
No, I thought that was awesome.
I mean, I didn't mind him swinging it, and when he hit Loki or when he hit Thanos in the back, I knew exactly who it was. And I think I was the only person in the theater that yelled, and so I was super excited at that moment. But I think when him and Thor just got too cheesy, and it's like, no, here, you take the little one, and then he's swinging all of them, and I just think it got too gratuitous. That's all.
I couldn't figure out why Thor went back and got Mjolnir when he had Stormbreaker, which is a more powerful weapon.
Because he loved his hammer. I don't know.
Yeah. It was hammer time, I guess.
Yeah.
But I thought everything was great. It's a great conclusion. I enjoyed it. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I do want to take a couple minutes, and I want to talk about Game of Thrones from last week. So if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, we're going to talk about that for a minute, and I'm warning you now. This is your spoiler warning. We're talking about Game of Thrones. Did you get a chance to watch it Sunday night?
Yes. Pissed the F off is what I am.
Why?
Oh man, it because it's like everything that our heroes have done just got undone in a big way in this one episode. You know, you start to see Daenerys's true colors, and I started rewatching Game of Thrones this week, and I started season 1, episode 1. And you go back and watch her, and she, her brother's the one that wanted to come back to Westeros and rule, and she didn't want to do it.
Yep.
And so, early Daenerys didn't want to come back, and so she obviously she evolves as this queen. But you saw in her the jealousy she had toward Jon when everyone, the Starbucks scene when everyone's high fiving Jon, and only a king is a crazy bastard to ride a dragon. And so she started to get jealous, and then she's like, the only way that we can live together is you can't tell anybody, and I wish you never told me. And it never once, the thought of she not being the rightful heir, it never crossed her mind until that episode. And then it's like you're impeding my dream, and the only, you can't tell anybody, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And they've started to turn Daenerys and Jon against each other. Cersei being Cersei. Jaime and Brienne, I thought was, Jaime, why did he sleep with her? Was it out of, did he love her? Did he have feelings for her? Was this just a hey? So so you can say you slept with the Kingslayer, and then he's like, then he just bounces at the end.
Well, I think what happened, to taking a couple steps back, you look at Daenerys from the beginning to where she is now. You're right. Yeah, she never wanted the throne. She just wanted to live and do this and that. And she was told by Viserys, you're gonna be the, I'm the dragon, we're the rightful heirs and rulers and this and that. And then as as time progresses, and as she gains power through attrition and through marriage and all these things and getting the dragons, everybody just kind of pushes upon her this belief she's the queen, she's the rightful heir, and then she starts to believe this lie. It's not even that it's a lie, but this whole theory and mythology that she is the rightful heir. And so her entire life, because I think what in the beginning she's supposed to be in the books or so, like she's a teenager. So she's, still very young and impressionable. And, you think 20, 30, 40 years of this, that's all you keep hearing in your face, you believe it. And her entire foundation has completely been rattled by the fact that she's not, and it would drive somebody to go insane. And then she sees her dragons getting killed. Viserion for the Night King, and then Rhaegal for the scorpion arrows and all that craziness. So I think that it's totally going to drive her mad. And I don't think we'll see her on the throne. To me, I know a lot of people have gotten really upset with the show right now because they're like, there was all this hype and build up to the Night King, and the Night King's this ominous villain, and it's the end of the thing. And what kind of annoyed me about that, everybody got so mad about that, but the show's called Game of Thrones, not called the Long Night. He was the mini boss of the game, if you will. And now we're going to the final boss, and she is absolute pure evil. She's not death incarnate, or death in ice. I don't know what you'd say that would be. But she's just evil. She's out for herself. She wants power, and she doesn't care who she has to, kill in order to maintain and control it. And she's the true definition of a tyrant in that way.
Yeah.
And that's where this battle is going to take place. And I think that we have... it goes back to Ygritte. Nothing. They don't understand what they're dealing with. I think out of everybody in the show, Tyrion, Jaime, and Sansa are probably the closest people to understanding how evil she is and would have any chance of taking her on and winning. Now, when you go to the Jaime Brienne thing, I think he does love her, but I also think that it's a different side of him. The one-handed, broken Jaime wants to have that honorable life and respect with Brienne, but then he hears about Cersei and stuff and remembers his family lineage and stuff. He's going to go back to that. It's what he knows. It's safe. It's comfort. That's why he does it. And he throws this I'm evil out and I'm dark and all these other things to push that away because that's the easier route to go. There's so much stuff there. And Melisandre dying and or Missandei, I always get her mixed up with Melisandre. Missandei's death, I thought was perfect because it's like you get a hold of somebody and it's like I'm gut punching you hard. I want you to show me that you're the crazy one because that's going to make the people of Westeros like her and just trust her even more. So Cersei's playing a mind game here of chess with them.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious to know what's going to happen with her because as Viserys has said, I represent the people. I would love to, in a crazy way, if it ever happened. I think if anybody deserves to rule, it should be Viserys because he's the one that wants to speak for the people more than anything else, and not who's in power and all these other things. He'll never do it. He's probably gonna get axed in the next episode, guaranteed. So I thought Bronn showing up and punching Tyrion in the face and all that was I thought that was interesting. I didn't like it necessarily because I'm like, dude, y'all have kind of been in the trenches together, and I get, you're a sellsword and all these other things, but really, why don't you just walk him instead of threatening him? But he knew what he had to do to get what he wanted because everything got taken from him after it was given to him, and he's just pissed, I think.
Yeah. No, I get that, and everything you said's right. I mean, I don't know. I think if they were trying to establish happy endings for like Brienne and Jaime, I think letting them both survive the battle is a disservice. Arya is the only one who's true to her word and she's on a mission.
Yeah.
And then the Hound, he only has one person left on his list. So those two teaming up heading down south, I think is kind of poetic.
Yeah. Brandon brings up a good point. It's all about blood, family wise. With that's why Jaime goes back to Cersei. Their blood and family. Arya and Sansa keep reminding them that Jon is their family. He is a Stark. He has Stark blood, not Targaryen blood.
He does have Targaryen blood.
Well, he does, but you know what I mean. Like, they consider him a Stark more than a Targaryen. And his traits and his behavior characteristics are more of a Stark. Honorable, noble, trustworthy, and things like that. And he doesn't have the crazy side of it. Daniel brings up that it's because he's just an a-hole talking about Jaime. But I would point that more towards the Kraken. Oh God, what is it? I can't.
Theon Greyjoy.
Not Theon. Euron.
Euron.
Dude, he needs a punch to the you know what really hard.
I think he'll get it.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's gonna happen. I predict that somehow Jaime's going to die. Arya will take his face. Arya will kill Euron. Arya will kill Cersei. Daenerys goes nuts. But I don't know who takes the throne. I don't think it'll be Tyrion. Sansa's going to stay north.
If it depends on who survives between Daenerys and Jon. One of them's going to die.
I think Daenerys is going to die. I think they both die possibly. I don't know.
I think if Jon dies, then Daenerys takes the throne. I think she'll burn everything and be on a throne of ashes. If Jon survives, I think he's just basically going to say there is no one king over 7 kingdoms. Everyone rules themselves.
Yeah.
And he basically breaks apart the chair.
Well,
I mean, if Daenerys wants to be the breaker of the wheel, then why is she going to continually repeat the same mistake that every Targaryen before them made and the Lannisters are making now?
It's called insanity.
Well, I know, and your brothers, Brandon said it, Targaryen madness. I get it, but that's you want to break the wheel, then break the wheel.
Yeah. I thought, and Brandon brings up a good point too. It's kind of really frustrating too. We've seen all these shots of Drogon the entire show. We don't really see a whole lot of interaction with Viserion and Rhaegal, and then they all just start getting taken down pretty quickly. So. The
Yeah,
Drogons left to go wander around free with Daenerys, and then Viserion and Rhaegal were locked up in Meereen for the longest time until Tyrion broke them loose. Which I always wondered if Tyrion would have ridden one of them because of that moment. Like, they would have trusted him.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
But I mean, yeah, pissed off. The episode pissed me off. Just basically the way they left everything with the character development that they'd built up so far all season. So I'm still gonna watch it. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
There's only
I'm
2
gonna
episodes
watch.
left. I think this next episode's the big battle. And the guy that did the big battle for Winterfell and Battle of the Bastards directed this next episode Sunday. And then I think the last episode's going to be a wrap up. Whether they'll be further in time or if it's going to be, right afterwards, I don't know. Are we going to do like the end of Harry Potter where it's like we poorly age everybody and they have kids and they're doing stuff, or are we going to just show this is like months, years later, or what?
I don't know. So. And then we got another show coming up at some point. Prequel show, and then Benioff and Weiss are getting to do a Star Wars trilogy, which I don't know if those are in those dates that we talked that were released or not. Probably, I don't know if they are or not. Yeah. We don't know anything about those dates or what the movies are. I don't know.
I want Tormund to show back up. I think we saw the conclusion of Sam and Tormund and Ghost story, which kind of makes me mad because Ghost.
Now, where's Sam going?
Sam's just got, I don't know where he's going to go, but he's got little Sam and one in the oven, and, I don't know what's going to happen. I think he wants to go be a maester, but, the king has to change that policy up for that to happen.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, but hey, man, I'm gonna have to wrap it. I need to go pull my car in the garage if we're gonna get hail, severe weather, what's gonna happen. Plus, I think we've pretty much run out of topics to talk about tonight.
Agreed.
We appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. We are Nerf Herders here on Nerf Herder Radio. We always appreciate everyone stopping by, contributing. Brandon, I'd like to get you back on sometime. Thought you did a great job last week. And then we'll see if we can maybe get a guest speaker again and again and maybe try to make that a regular thing. So,
something I just realized we didn't even talk about at all Star Wars related, and we're terrible fan people.
What's that?
Peter Mayhew.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yes. Good old
sad.
Chewbacca.
I mean, we've lost Carrie Fisher, Chewbacca. I mean, Harrison Ford's looking old. Mark Hamill's looking old. Yeah,
my brother kind of favors Mark Hamill when he has his goatee and his hair's a little longer and shaggy. So,
although I can't, my wife watches whatever the Templar Knights show is, Nightfall or whatever, and he's on that. I can't get into it. Maybe I'll give it another shot. But no, I mean, that's kind of all I've got. Next week I'll be recording live from Columbus, Ohio. I'll be on location, so we'll have to hopefully hotel Wi-Fi, does us a solid next week. Otherwise, I might need Brandon to fill in for me. I don't know. Let's see what my flights are. I think I land by 9:30. But I'm gonna go pull my car in, and then I've got a long day tomorrow, flying to Hollywood. Hollyweird, and then up to the headquarters. So I'm going to call it a night. And with that being said, the Force will be with you always.